But moving from education, we talk safety on our roads. The carnage on our roads nowadays is simply mind-boggling. We're actually addressing 5 practical things to do before you move your vehicle. What are some of the things you ought to look out for? Mama Vio Usuabaje is standing by with the CEO of Top Tech, Cecil Gabra, who will be telling us more in that respect. Mama Vio, over to you.
Because part of the issue is really the fact that we have faulty vehicles, breakdown vehicles, and we need some kind of towing service to take those vehicles out. We all have our independent opinion on this, but accidents, we kind of have divided opinions on accident because we keep recording accident. First quarter of this year alone, we understand we have over 800 human lives that have been taken away from us. And so as part of our Drive Safe campaign, we want to know what we individually can do, because sometimes our vehicles are faulty, we have no idea, we just sit in them and we move only to realize that they can't take us to our final destination, and sometimes it causes accident. So I've come to see Mr. Cecil Gabra. He's the Executive Director and Founder of Top Tech Transport and Logistics. Thank you very much for hosting us.
You're very most welcome.
So we've been having this conversation of road accidents, and I think that we've been able to sustain it pretty much this time around. Do you see progress being made?
Well, I think there's an alertness now that everybody is listening, everybody's watching multimedia, and I feel it's a good thing. I'll say kudos. We must continue, you must not stop it. Let's start happening, because in Ghana, 99% of goods that we actually transport is all by road transport. We cannot do without it, whether we like it or not, right? This morning you sat in a vehicle, you drove to work. Mm-hmm. I did so. We don't have the tram system here, we don't have any short form like BRT, bus rapid transit system. All what we have is drive and go, or enjoy sitting in a Trotsky or any other bus. So as for road crashes, they are bound to happen. The only thing that we need to do is we have to be helpful by helping each other. For instance, this morning when I was coming to work, there was a guy driving a Hyundai Elantra, and I didn't know where he was going. He was just weaving through, and finally we came at par. I rolled my glasses and I said, Papa, I gave him a spell. Turbo, I just, exercise pacing. And you know what he did? He just saluted me. I said, that is fine. But if you go shouting on this person, you bring the road rage. And I always say that out of 10 vehicles that you see on the road, my dear lady, 5 people are mad. 10 drivers, 5 drivers are mad. And mad in quotes. Maybe in the morning, the guy didn't have money in the house to leave to the wife. He goes crazy. Same morning, he's had problems with his landlord or landlady. Others are even getting up at 4 a.m. right now away from the house. So madness is not an issue where you have taken off your clothes. That is an issue where you have a problem, and therefore you brought the problem to your steering wheel. If you have a problem, don't drive at all. That is it. Just go by either Trotsky, taxi, Uber, whatever it is, and then relax. Because if you bring your troubles down the steering wheel, I'm telling you that you're going to have a lot of problems, because driving needs the whole brains. It needs every part of your body. For instance, at Top Tech, we don't even teach automatic, because automatic is...
You don't?
We don't teach
But that's
automatic.
what we drive these days.
Yes, but what if your husband is using the 4x4, which is
African
manual, which is manual, and then he's parked behind you, and you need to move that vehicle, okay? And we do so because you need to understand driving. And you need to know how to drive the manual, you need to know how to drive the automatic. Automatic will come naturally. Okay, so we say automatic is no driving, because we want you to work it out with all your hands, your legs, and then that makes you...
But don't you tend to forget automatic after the manual after you've used automatic for so long?
Once a driver, always a driver. Once you drive the manual vehicle for a certain period, and then you come back to the automatic, it's always easier for you to drive.
Okay. Well, that's one big lesson for me right there. But you've given me Jacob Amumensa, who will be taking us through the pre-start checks. And this is what we all should do before you move a vehicle, whether you are a woman or a man. A lot of the times, I guess we tend to leave it to the man to do. And so if your man is pretty busy, this is something that you can also do as a woman. So Jacob, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. How do we begin this whole pre-start check?
All right. So first of all, what you have to do is when you are lucky, God gives you life, you come out of your room, the very first thing you have to do is go around your vehicle. You need to go around the vehicle to check your tires, if they are well inflated. That's the first thing you have to do.
Okay.
You check the tires if they are well inflated. Another thing we are supposed to do is to check for leakages within the tire. If I say leakages within the tire, something like this. If this is the tire, you need to pass your hand through the rims to check if they are wet.
They are wet.
Yes.
So is this oil wet or this is water wet?
If it is wet, your brake fluid, it's leaking.
Oh.
The moment your brake fluid starts to leak, if this tire's brake fluid is leaking, it affects all the four. Do you understand? So we have to check all the four tires if they are not wet. You pass your hand, as I did it, you pass your hand through the rims to see if they are wet. Please do not move it.
Is one spot enough?
Not just one spot. You pass your hand through it to check if it's dry.
Okay.
You are good to go. If it's wet, please do not move. Let the mechanic check why it's wet.
Okay.
If it's your brake fluid, the brake fluid comes with a smell. It comes with a smell, which when we open our bonnet, we are going to look at all those things. After checking through all the four tires, another thing you need to do is to go down and look under your vehicle for leakages. Like something like this. You need to bend down like this and look out for leakages. What leakages are we looking out for? Your coolant, your engine oil, your brake fluid as well. These are the leakages we are looking for.
Okay.
You go under, check, there's no leakage, then we can come into the bonnet and open it. All right. So
Can I ask you about the tie?
Right.
How do you know there is a problem? Apart from the checking for the whether there's some leakage, I get that. But in terms of the tire itself, the pressure.
All right. So the tire pressure, looking at the tire physically, you can see that this side stays on the ground. So if the tire pressure is down, you would see this side of the tire protrude more. It comes out more. If it's more, then we need to top it up.
Okay.
After topping it up, you move it to the vulcanizer to check why the tire was down. It could be a puncture, a slow puncture. So they work on it and put air into it again for you. Another thing you should also check are for cracks and damages on the tire. You need to check for cracks and damages. If there is a crack on your tire and you do not check it, whilst you move on the road, because of the traction, this is made of rubber. The road itself is made of bitumen, which we call coal tar. The two together creates friction and it generates heat. The more heat that goes into the tire will allow your tire to blow out. That's how come someone will be driving on the road, the tire blows out.
And that has happened to me before at dawn on my way to work. Right. Unfortunately, because the glasses are up and I was listening to music, I think it was a miracle that I heard something. And so I put the music off just to pay more attention to it.
Right.
And I was so scared. Yeah.
It's very scary. When your tire blows out, it's very, very scary.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we're done with this, I guess we're all clear to open the bonnets. So this is Jacob taking us through the basic things that we all need to do before we move our vehicles, and this is all in order to help us avoid some accidents that we can prevent, basically.
So after the outside check, we come into the bonnet.
Okay. Why is your bonnet shiny?
Yes, we did. We always do a steam wash.
Okay.
Once every week. we do a steam wash. So your engine becomes so clean and neat.
Wait, so I take it to the car wash and they wash it for me once a week? Is that the same thing you've done?
Now let me just chip in. You remember he said a steam wash.
Yeah.
Now with the modern vehicles, you don't just take it to the washing bay and then they use the water. No, this is steam, and it is made up of chemicals. Okay, and there are certain stations. I'm not promoting them. Certain stations that you go, tell them you want a steam wash, and that's what we do to our vehicles once a week, to take the rust from the engine and then make the engine so clean. There's nothing like driving with a cleaner engine.
Okay, so steam wash once a week.
Yes.
Got it.
All right. So after we open our bonnet, there is no systematic way of checking it. You can check from anywhere, but we are going to start with the engine oil first.
Okay.
First of all, this is what we use in checking the engine oil, which we call dip stick. That is a dip stick. All you need to do is you need to bring it out, and you wipe off the very first oil you see on it. Some people bring it out, all they do is check and fix it back, but you need to wipe off the very first oil. Why do you do that? The reason is, during the day as you use the car, the engine oil, it's a little bit thicker. So when heat gets to it, it melts. So it becomes more. So if this is where we use in checking the oil, you can see L and F, which is low and full. Okay. So your oil level is supposed to be on the F. But when you use the car and heat gets to the engine oil, it shoots it up. So it dents, let's imagine it dents here. You leave it. The moment you bring it out, it tells you that this is the level of your engine oil. But no, that is not the level. So you need to wipe it off to give you the accuracy in oil level. Okay. After wiping it off, you fix it back. Some few seconds.
Take it back.
You bring it out, and this is how you hold it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
This is how you hold it. You don't tilt it backwards. You don't tilt it forward. You hold it straight. Okay. So it gives you the accurate level of oil that you need.
All right.
So that is how to check the engine oil. There are a few ways you can check if your engine oil is dirty. One, the texture. All you need to do is to touch the oil and feel it. If you feel particles in it, it is dirty. No matter how clear the engine oil is, when you feel particles in it, it is dirty. They need to change it. Okay. They need to change the oil. So they find out how the dirt got into the engine. So that is the first one. The second one is the color. The color. The engine oil color shouldn't be black. It shouldn't be black. The moment it is black, it's going to spoil your engine. So it starts, the engine oil color looks a little bit like yellowish. Okay. It looks a little bit like yellowish color. So as time goes on, it keeps changing. It keeps changing. But you shouldn't allow it to get to the black color. When it gets to the black color, it's going to spoil your engine. Okay. So that is how we deal with the engine oil, how we check the engine oil, and how to know if your engine oil is dirty. Okay. Still on the engine oil, there are ways we can service our car. 3 ways we can service our car. That is cars, like commercial vehicles, cars that are on the run all the time. They stay on the road all the time. 2 to 3 weeks. Every 2 to 3 weeks, you need to service it. You need to service it so your car stays in good condition for you. We also have the 3-month servicing, which are for cars like probably yours. You drive to the office, park, drive to the house. Saturday, you go for wedding. Sunday, church, you bring it back. Every 3 months, you need to service it. Then we come to the ones that you use today. You leave it down like 2-3 days before you go back to it. Every 6 months, you service it. Okay. The servicing we are talking about is about the engine oil. You let them check the brake fluid, all the fluids in the car, like the coolant. We have another fluid called the ATF, automatic transmission fluid, which helps the transmission of the car. All these fluids, you need to have them checked when you are doing your servicing.
Great.
From the engine oil, we move to this, which we call the brake fluid. This is the brake fluid reservoir. The brake fluid itself is in there. Every car has a particular brake fluid it uses. Every car has a particular brake fluid it uses. When we look on the filler cap, this is a filler cap. It says clean filler cap before removing. Use only .3 or 4 from a sealed container. Some of the cars can tell you use only .3. Some will tell you use only .4. If it says only .3 and you put in 4, it wouldn't work. It's like taking a petrol car to the filling station and putting in diesel. It wouldn't work. But if it says .3 or 4, you can use either the 3 or the 4.
So how do I know that people who service my car know what you're telling me?
That is why...
Because I didn't know this.
You didn't know that?
No.
So that is why you using the car, you that the car is for, you should know exactly the brake fluid you are supposed to use. If I'm the vendor, you come to me and you tell me I'm buying brake fluid. When I pick brake fluid, I give it to you. But when you tell me I'm buying .3 brake fluid, when I need to look for .3 brake fluid and bring it out.
I get it.
So it's very necessary you know the particular brake fluid your car uses.
Fantastic.
I talked about the leakages, the smell of a brake fluid. Please, if you can help me.
Smell it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
There is a smell.
There is a smell. It's sharp, almost alcoholic kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you're looking for the leakages, you pass your hand through the rims and it's this smell. Please do not move your car.
Oh.
Do not move it. Your brake fluid is leaking. The moment it starts leaking from this tire, it affects all. Your brakes wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
So every morning you need to check the level of your brake fluid. It should always be on the maximum. You check this morning, you use the car the whole day. The next morning you check and you see that it's gone down.
So maximum is where this level is. That's the...
Yes, that's the maximum.
Okay.
When you look beside it, you can see they've written max. And when you go down there, they've written mean.
Okay.
It should always be on the maximum.
Okay, great.
When you use it today, the next morning you check and it's gone down. You top it up. Do the same routine again. The next morning it's gone down. Then you should know that there is also a leakage somewhere. It could be internal. That is why if it's external, you will see it drop on the ground. But if it's internal, you cannot know. All you need to do is to inform the mechanic to check on the brake fluid why it's leaking.
Okay. Sure.
It is the most important part of your car. Any other thing can happen to your car. It wouldn't kill you. But when your brake fluid starts leaking, all those names can be added to your name. Obituary, gone too soon. What a shock. All those things. That is what is happening. So many people do not do all this, and we have problems on the road. That is for our brake fluid, which is very important. Everybody should know the kind of brake fluid his car uses. From the brake fluid, we can go to the coolant. Some call it water tank, but it's called the radiator tank. It's called the radiator tank. What we put in there is called coolant, not water. When you put water into this, what you are doing is, one, you are rusting your engine because of oxygen in water. Getting into contact with metal, your engine is rusting gradually. It will be rusting gradually. So an engine which is supposed to last 3-4 years before it goes down, within 1.5 years, your engine is down already. Then you start blaming the one who sold the car to you. Because you are using water, that's the first one. Another thing is water evaporates. So those who use water in their cars, every morning you see them topping up because it has evaporated. The third thing is water has the lowest boiling point, which is 100 degrees Celsius. No matter how you do it, when it gets to its peak, it will boil. It will seem you have overheating, but no, it's the water that is boiling. So we don't put water into cars. What we put in there is coolant. What we put in there is coolant. Coolant comes in colors. It comes in different colors. We can see green here. We can see green here. We also have the red. We also have the blue. And we have the pink. Green, red, blue, and the pink. This aids in cooling down the engine. It aids in cooling down the engine. Depending on the size of your tank, you can buy 2 gallons.
Okay.
That's 4-liter gallons. One could go in the radiator tank, then a little goes into the reservoir.
So you don't pour it here?
No, you don't pour it. You pour some here to this level.
Okay.
It shouldn't get to that level. It should get to this level because the pressure cap covers the side, which will not allow the fluid to come out.
Okay.
Then you put some into the reservoir. So while this is going down, it opens up, then this flows into it.
Okay. Oh, at what level should what goes here be?
There is a level here. You will see F and L.
Okay.
It should always be on the F. It shouldn't exceed F.
Okay.
The space left from the F up here is for heat expansion.
Okay. Okay.
It's for heat expansion. If you fill it to the brim and there is overheating, you are going to spoil this reservoir.
Okay.
And I bet you this reservoir, when they tell you the price,
just some misconceptions. Some people say that this colored water is for the Europeans, and that because of the heat in Ghana, you need water and not this coolant.
This is an anti-rust coolant. We also have an anti-freeze coolant. The anti-freeze is what is for the European world. That one, because of the snow, when they put it in there and it snows, anti-freeze do not allow the engine to freeze. But the anti-freeze is what we don't use here. But we use an anti-rust coolant, which aids to cool down the engine totally.
Jacob, I want to thank you because I didn't know you put it here, honestly. And when I am checking for the coolant, I never open this side. This is what I do.
Oh, okay.
So 2 things that you've taught me even before we finish is the brake fluid.
The brake fluid.
The fact that you need a specific one for your specific vehicle, and the coolants. So thank you on that note.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And I've experienced the overheating before. That was not too long ago. So I really appreciate what you're taking me through this morning.
Thank you
our
very
viewers
much.
As well, if you're watching closely.
Thank you. With the overheating you talked about, when the car is overheating, please do not open this. When it's overheating, do not open it. All you need to do is to open the bonnet, allow the engine to cool down totally. It could take an hour or more before your engine cools down. You should do that if you really love your car, because when you move, as my boss said, the moment your head gasket is gone, that is it. They are going to replace it. With diesel engines, they don't open it. It will lose its pressure. But with petrol engines, they'll open it, fix a new one. The new one is never going to be like the original. It's never going to be like the original. So you open the bonnet, allow the engine to cool down totally.
Just to add to what Jacob is saying, right? The head gasket is right here, okay? It's a joint between the top of the engine. I'm just explaining it for everybody to have. The top, you have 3 layers. The top, the middle layer, and the down layer. So the gasket is in between the first 2 layers. And when that gasket is gone, believe in me that is the end of your engine. That is why Jacob is saying, never put water in your radiator when you have overheating. Whenever you have any overheating, wait for about 1 hour for the engine to cool down totally before you add any water. Water, because that is what is available, emergency. But then overheating could come from a lot of issues. 1, if you have a leakage in your radiator. 2, your electrical system, if it is not working, and then your fan is not moving. And that is why you have to keep your eyes on your dashboard, so that if you see any movement, any unusual movement of your temperature gauge, you'll have to stop. Don't wait for it to get into the red or it starts to move up. Okay? I always say that the radiator is rather the brain of the engine because, you know, Jacob will explain it to you that it has a different piping system through the engine. Okay, and what it does is that it cools the engine and then comes back to the radiator. The fan will help, as well as the air coming from outside when you're driving. I mean, yeah, the air passes through the side and then it cools your radiator. Over to you, Jacob.
All right.
Thank you, sir. So we have the inlet hose and we have the outlet. The inlet allows the coolant into the engine to cool it down. Then when it heats up, it passes through the outlet into the radiator tank, whilst the fan moves to cool the coolant down in the radiator tank.
Okay.
One thing we see people doing is when they have overheating, they call ice water seller.
Yeah.
They put a whole sachet, a whole bag of water into the radiator tank.
Yeah.
Let's relate it to human beings. When you walk on the sun for a long time and you drink chilled water, what happens? When you drink the chilled water, within a short while you start sweating. You start sweating. That happens to the engine. But because the engine is not able to talk, no one knows it. The moment you put water, chilled, cold water or warm water into it, all you are doing is you are breaking down your engine.
Oh wow, that's just exactly what the mechanic did.
You break it down. What they'll do is they'll be putting in water. They'll tell you, let's drive slowly to the office.
Yeah.
He will drive. He gets somewhere, the water goes down, he gets down, put in more water. He continues like that. He's breaking down your engine.
Oh.
When he breaks down your engine, he's going to take money from you before he repairs it.
Wow.
So when your engine has overheating, please do not put in water. All you need is open the bonnet, let the engine cool down. Call your mechanic to come and work on it while the car is overheating before you continue moving. Do not do it small. Let's do it small to my shop.
Yeah.
Put in water, you drive for some distance, you put another water. No, we don't do that.
Okay.
The water is just for emergency. You put it there. When you get home, you need to dilute it again with the coolant.
Okay.
You don't leave it like that.
Okay. So wait, so if you've poured in normal water to the level, how do you do the dilute? Because you don't have to, it doesn't have to come to a
There is
level.
coolant in it already.
Okay.
There is coolant in it. So all you need to do is to top up with water. When you top up with water and you get there, there is a bypass hose. They need to open a little bit. Then it goes down. Then you dilute it with the coolant again.
Okay. All right.
Do you understand?
All right, yeah.
All right.
I get it.
So that is for the coolant and the overheating problem. Another thing we should check that people do not do is our car battery. We always need to check if it's in good condition. Let's look. There is a transparent seal here. You can see a color in there, green.
Yeah.
But when we come here,
do I have to remove that too?
no. I just want to demonstrate something for them. When we look in here, it's green. When you look at the indicators, it says green means that your battery is okay, it's fully charged. Then when it changes from green to black, your battery has gotten to a stage whereby you should charge it. You need to take it out, give it to those who sell batteries. They have a charger they'll use to charge their battery.
Okay.
Then when it changes from black to white, you need to replace it. The battery can't work again. You need to replace it. But we always advise that the moment it changes from green to black, you can change it. You need to change it. So you save yourself the embarrassment of moving on the road, your car stops.
Okay.
Do we understand?
Yes, sir. I do.
This is what we have to check. Every morning you need to check your battery.
Okay.
You need to check it.
Okay, great. Great. These are things I didn't know, honestly. And again, I think I've experienced all the things that you're telling us this morning. Because I went to work all right, started my car, when I close and car simply won't start. And I had no idea that I could check this. I called the transport manager.
That is the most embarrassing part of car. If your car is not starting, it's very, very embarrassing.
Yeah.
Another thing we should know about the battery is the terminals. This is the battery terminal, but these are battery poles. It has a positive and a negative. How do you differentiate between the positive and the negative? Let's forget about this. let's forget about the indications on it. I've covered it with this so that we will not know.
Okay.
So how do you differentiate between the positive and the negative? The positive pole and the terminal are always bigger than the negative. When you look at the differences, this pole and that pole, this is bigger than that.
Okay.
So this, it makes this the positive and this negative.
Biggest positive, small
Biggest
negative.
positive, small is negative.
Okay.
Another way is the positive terminals sometimes are coated with colors, red, then the negative, black.
Why should I know this, by the way?
You should know it. If you do not know it, for instance, I give you this car, then I tell you, buy a battery and fix into it. You do not know the difference between the positive terminal and the negative. The moment you switch it and you start, it sparks fire.
I've seen people hit stones and other things.
Yes,
on this
we are coming to that.
Okay, great.
We do not hit stones or anything on the terminals. All you need is the tool to take the terminal off. We can use spanner to take this off, to loosen it a little bit, then you pull it out. You don't need stones to hit it before it goes there. Whilst you are hitting it, you are spoiling the pole. Whilst you are hitting it, you are spoiling the pole because this is also made of metal. Sometimes you also see people turning it this way. Friction takes place. This is metal, this is metal. They are rubbing each other. Friction takes place. So this will wear off. It will get to a time when you even fix it and tighten it well, it wouldn't fit. So we do not use stones or anything on it. Sometimes too, people use things to cover the battery, like tube, they cut tube to cover the battery so it doesn't touch the bonnet. The battery needs air around it. You do not need to cover it. It needs air around it.
Okay. Correct.
That is for the battery. Then we come here to, this is a washer fluid. It's a washer fluid for the wind screen. The fluid is also being sold at the lube base.
This is also not ordinary water?
No.
Hey!
Water is an option. The reason is that the fluid that we put in here is quite expensive. 4 goes into this, which will cost you almost about 200 cedis. 2-3 weeks, it's gone. Are you ready to feed your car 200 cedis every 2 weeks or 3 weeks? Just for this. What about the rest? So there is an alternative. Water mixed with liquid soap. The soap shouldn't be too much. We don't need Omo. The Omo particles blocks the tubes where the fluid passes onto the windscreen.
So let's replace that with washing powder.
Washing powder, no.
Okay.
Liquid soap.
Okay.
You put the liquid soap in there, a few drops of liquid soap. Then you put the water to mix up. So you get the foamy nature of the fluid. The fluid itself is like, it's like a soap. Soap is in it. So it helps wipe off the windscreen very well.
So how is that called, if you can afford?
Washer fluid.
Washer fluid.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Washer fluid.
All right.
If you can afford, you buy it.
Okay.
But if you can't, you can put liquid soap, drops of liquid soap, put the water in there to form the washer fluid for you, so it wipes off the windscreen very well.
Should it be full? Very full?
This one has no limit. It has no limit. You can fill it to this side.
Okay.
It has no limit.
All right.
You can fill it to the brim.
Okay, cool.
That is for this one. Another thing I want us to learn about is the alternator.
That's the alternator.
This is the alternator. The work the alternator does is marvelous. The battery only starts the car for you. When the battery starts the car, it doesn't work again. It goes off. The moment your car is started, the battery goes off. It doesn't work. The alternator takes over. So all the cars we see running is being run on the alternator power, not battery power. That is how come I can start this car. Whilst the car is running, I take off the battery, give it to someone else to start. It's because of the help of the alternator. When the alternator is running the car, at the same time, it charges the battery for you. That is how come our battery is able to last longer 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on how you treat it. Because anything you do with your engine off takes its power from the battery. Like playing music, when your engine is off, your light is on, whilst your engine is off, picks its power from the battery. That's how come you leave your car light on. By the time you come back, your battery has run down. It's picking its power from the battery. But when you leave your engine on, you are playing music. It doesn't pick power from here, it picks power from here. How do I know my alternator is weak or it's not working whilst my car is parked? When I start my car in the morning, all I need to do is to take off one terminal. When I take off one terminal and the engine goes off, it means that this isn't working, but the car was picking power from the battery. That is why I took off the cable or the terminal and the engine went off. That is one, if your car is parked. Two, when the car is moving, how do I know this is stopped? On the instrumentation panel, which we call the dashboard, most of us call the dashboard, you see a battery warning sign. It comes on, then it goes off. It comes on, then it goes off. It is telling you that this has stopped working, so the engine is picking power from the battery, and the battery is getting weaker and weaker. That is why it comes up and it goes off.
Okay.
So when you see that, quickly you need to stop. Let them work on the alternator for you.
Okay.
Let them work on the alternator for you, and we are good to go.
Okay. Amazing. So if you do this, this is daily?
Daily,
Okay.
every morning.
All right.
Every morning. You do that before you start your car.
Okay.
You
Great.
need to do that before you start your car. Another thing we should also know is about the fuse box, which houses the fuses. It houses all the fuses. When we look at it, there are numbers on it. These numbers are measured in amps. They are measured in amps. Every fuse here has something to do with the engine or the car. When we look here, we can see it. There are so many things written here. We can see ABS, we can see start, that is, we can see the ignition, we can see the wiper. All of them has fuses here. So anytime the fuse blows here, all you need to do is, this is the fuse remover. You fix it this way, you pull it out. If the fuse is blown, please do not allow the electricians to use wires to join it. When they use wires to join it, the wire they are joining, how would you know that it's going to give you up to the number here, 15 amps? It could be less, it could be more. When it's more, it will blow. It will still blow. When it's less, it will blow. Whilst it keeps on blowing, it is spoiling the slots. Then this same electrician will come and tell you, oh madam, your slots are spoiled. We need to change the whole fuse box. Changing the whole fuse box is a whole lot of work, because he's going to cut all these cables. He will lift it. There are cables under it. He's going to cut them. He's now going to trace it one after the other. This is going to take like 3 days for him to finish, because if he makes mistake in here, your car could burn. That is going to cost you a lot. This fuse is not expensive. The highest this fuse can go now is 2 cedis.
Is it?
Why don't you get more into your car? These numbers, get more. It doesn't deal with the colors, but it deals with the numbers on it. If this is blue, which is 15, and this is yellow, which is 15, and the blue one gets blown, all I need to do is to pick out another 15 and fix it there, regardless of the color.
Okay. Okay. If only we knew. Sometimes we have no idea when they say your fuse is blown. You don't even know what the fuse is. You have no idea that it will cost you only 2 cedis.
It's not expensive. It's not.
Yeah.
So this one thing we should also learn about fuse.
Fantastic. Oh my God. Well, I wonder what. Are we done?
No, we are not.
Oh, okay.
There are a few things we still have to go on.
Okay.
People just do the engine and they are done, forgetting about their brake lights, their indicator lights. The indicator light is for directional purposes. If I want to move left, I show my indicator to the left. So if my indicator light is not working, How do I tell people behind that I'm doing this? When my brake lights are not working, how do people know I'm slowing down or I'm stopping?
Yeah.
So we need to check our lights as well.
Okay.
The brake lights, our indicator lights, our headlights, all this, we need to check if they are working before we set off. You may go out, coming out, home in the night, one of your lights is off. The policeman can stop you. Why is your light off? Why is it off? You are not supposed to drive with one light. If you are driving with one light, a light is approaching, something is approaching and is using one light, it looks like a motorbike. So every car needs 2 lights to drive. So all we need to do is also get spare bulbs. Spare bulbs, our brake lights, the bulb, we can get the indicator light, the bulbs, all in our car. So when it goes off, all I need to do is to drive to a mechanic or an electrician, tell him, boss, my bulb is off, I have a spare one, can you help me fix it? He fixes it. You give him what he has to take, you are gone.
Yeah.
If we are all doing this every morning, checking all this, we'll be safe on the road.
Amen. Jacob, you've made it really easy for me this morning, and there's so much that I've learned from just watching and listening to you, and I hope that our viewers have also learned the same, and we will take the precautions. This is not just a show. This is so we can all, stay safe on our roads. I've seen cars get bent, and I've been really, really helpless. Like, there's nothing you can do. You're just watching the car go. Sometimes you sit in a car and it suddenly stops. It won't move again. You have no idea what is happening to the vehicle. I guess these basic checks will help all of us. So Jacob Amomensa is with Top Tech Transport and Logistics. He's helped us this morning with the pre-start checks, daily pre-start checks that we have to do. And of course, Executive Director, Mrs. Cecil Gabra. Very grateful to you this morning as well. Thank you so much.
You're very most welcome. I think the next time we'll have to take you to the car itself.
Okay.
And then Jacob will take you through a lot of things. Yes, yesterday I mentioned something called tachometer. And then somebody said, what is the meaning of tachometer? So next time you come, we'll tell you what tachometer does and what.
Okay, all right. So the next time we'll have breakfast with Jacob again, this time inside the vehicle itself from Top Tech Transport and Logistics. My name is Mama Viewuswabwaje, roving this morning on the checks that you have to do on your vehicles daily. As part of our Drive Safe campaign, please remain safe on the road.
Well, I guess it's been a learning morning for all of us as far as our vehicles are concerned. So don't you just jump early in the morning into your car and get going. There are things to be done. We'll take a bit of a breather. We'll be back.